With the big cow. Everybody's friends at the Funny Farm, the skunk, and Adele, the diva chicken. We usually bring her, but we had so many animals, it was small spit. Yeah, he stole. Yeah. So most dogs would kill a bunny, as you can see. That's Romeo and Juliet. They met at the farm. That was a kitten that got adopted who did not. He looks like a baby. He's a Muscovy duck. And that's just a picture of one of the barns. Just a cool shot. That's a baby turkey who flew in I have a little airplane, and he flew in my airplane. I taught him how to fly that day. And that's baby Yogi, who's now big with the big horns. You can see they all get along. Chicken, and then the kittens. There's Tucker, who you'll see in a minute.
We met Tucker.
You met Tucker, okay. That's Mother Goose. That's airplane. They have defective wings, so, they had a birth defect. That's Nemo, that's not the baby. He was the first one that was in my house. And they're baby ducks in a cat bed. They don't look real, they are baby ducks, right?
Take the other books out to the truck.
What other books?
The Chucky book.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Hey, Bonnie, do you have one of our bags with the Chucky book in it?
For the esophagus?
All right, just give us that.
Okay, that'll work.
Thanks.
Oh, is this the way you feed them?
Yes.
We're going to feed them in a few minutes.
So it's 5:27. We always have a little bit of time. Let me grab this book. We had a bag, but I don't know if it got moved. Yes.
Would you like Scott to do an introduction?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm just
So I
out
have-
there yammering already.
I have one of each book, so this way you can show them.
I can show them, but
This
I'm
is-
going to
yeah.
just talk to this one because
Yeah.
of how they eat.
Right, because it's megasophagus.
All right, gonna hang out here.
So is that a shelf above the TV?
Yes, that's where we put books on.
I was going to say, can we put her books on it or no?
Or just
Right?
one.
Some books just.
Yeah, this way
Wanna do that?
it'll be like in the background of her live.
Wanna do that?
There you go.
Tucker, it's okay. He's like, Mom is inside and I'm out and I'm not
I
happy.
found them actually, sorry.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I thought they were.
Put these up for our photo op.
Let me take off the duct tape.
And Scott's going to do an introduction first, so I'm going to just sit in the back for a second, Matt. I'll switch with you. I'm right here. It's okay. It's all right. I'll be 1 minute. Stay. Stop.
They love you.
I know. Stay down. Down. We're going to eat in a second. Yes, he is.
But it's okay. You would think they would taste terrible.
Yeah. He's starting to, he kind of munches. He eats my hair and he just kind of crimples it up. And my papers now, a check. He hasn't eaten it all the way, but he has ruined one check. Yeah. Do you have his bottle?
They're right there.
Okay, so if you,
He gets hungry, he gets to eat.
yeah, because he starts to get cranky. But and this is still nice and warm. Bradley, Bradley, come here. Come here. That's the sign, but he can't find it. It's right here. It's right, Bradley, wait, come here. There you go. And we have contact. Because he's blind, he's close, but he's not. I know, he's like a little dog. He's so happy I'm eating my milk.
Ever seen a lamb fed?
Not on a public street. We wish we could bring you in, but you can't. You have to stay out here with Aunt Marina.
Need to go? I'll grab the bottle.
I think they're waiting for a few more minutes for people to show up. It's 5:30 right now, so.
Was Kelly just stopping by?
Yes, she was just stopping by. She was looking for friends.
Guy across the street is like,
found
what
them.
the hell is that? It's a lamb.
Okay.
He needs to eat dinner.
It's a baby lamb.
Guy looks, what
Baby Bradley.
Wow, that's a fast bottle.
Oh, oh yeah. He actually ate a little bit of it before we got here. I had to pull over to feed him. He was like, ah!
Hi, folks. Hi. Welcome.
Hi.
Come on in. What's your last name? McClinney. Okay. Hey. Enjoy. Hi, how are you?
All right, all done. And there's 2 more Marina up there. You want to take a lick? Okay, you're gonna eat in a minute. You okay? Okay.
Come on up here, Laurie.
Well, they're gonna but they're waiting a few more minutes. I just had to feed the baby Bradley.
You do
He
know
just
your microphone's on, right?
No.
Outside, and you're on Facebook.
Oh. Right now?
Yeah, outside.
No.
Were you saying stuff we shouldn't?
No, I was talking
Okay.
about baby Bradley. Not on Facebook Live yet.
Yeah, you are. It's 5:30. Say hello to everyone.
We'll wait until we start. We should have been videoing Bradley in the meantime.
Yeah, I can go out there and film him for a few minutes.
Okay, let me get out of the way.
Go stand
All
behind
right,
so
well,
we can
welcome
hear him.
everyone. Thank you so much for coming out to the Frenchtown Bookshop, where, as you know, we're going to spend some time hearing from Laurie Zaleski about the Funny Farm. This came about for the Frenchtown Bookshop when I saw this book being offered by the publisher and said, Mays Landing, New Jersey, that's so close to us. People would be so interested in hearing how a person wound up basically from scratch without having had any real involvement in this kind of rescue farm, suddenly gathering, not 60, not 160, but 600 animals on a farm that draws thousands of visitors every year and is an enormously popular place to go, so consider going down there after you've heard from Laurie. This is the book, Funny Farm, gorgeous cover, isn't it? With the animals around the border. It will be for sale and for signing at the back table. Obviously, this is a schlep, as we say here in Frenchtown, for Laurie to come up here. So please don't send her home with any unsold books, and support your friendly neighborhood bookstore also by selling and getting a signature, or by buying and getting a signature on those books. So please make her welcome, as we do, Laurie Zaleski.
Thank you. Thank you guys all for coming, knowing that I'm going to be in a spot that, although I've been to Frenchtown, I'm like, maybe none of you know me. I'm going, what if nobody shows up? So I'm so happy to see all of you. Thank you so much. Mays Landing is 2 hours away. It was almost like 2 hours and 1 minute. So if you ever want to come visit, the Funny Farm is open Tuesdays and Sundays from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. throughout the whole year. So even in the winter, we are open. We have 600 rescued animals. And, thank you, Scott, and thank you, Frenchtown, for having me. I really appreciate that. He was talking about the cover. It looks very whimsical. You can't judge a book by its cover. It can be a little dark. I don't know if has anybody read the book? A couple of you. So, as you know, it's a easy read. It kind of is how I speak. I think a lot of it comes out. So I think it's an easy read. But there are some, we all have stuff in life. So I definitely had some stuff, or at least my mom had some stuff. So for the first half of the book, I want to say, is about my life starting from 5 years old and talking about my mother, who had to leave a very abusive marriage. And we came from a kind of a well-to-do family we moved into a shack in the woods with no electric, no running water. And she was right out of high school. She was going to be a nun, and then she met the devil, my dad. So when we moved in, she was trying to do odd jobs. She didn't have any skills. She had no money. So she started working in a local animal shelter, where she brought home a watchdog because we kept getting robbed in this godforsaken house that we were in. And then she started bringing home all these other animals. And, us kids, we were like, we can barely take care of ourselves now. We have all these other critters. And my mother always said, no matter how bad somebody has it or we have it, there's always somebody else who has it worse. And we are here to help these babies who cannot help themselves. So we say, you know, we were rescuing animals. It's really not that way. They rescued us. They took the attention off of our crazy life, and although it was crazy and fun, it was, you know, it was hard. I wouldn't really change anything, and it made me very strong. Like somebody said, you know, I'm a risk taker, and I'm a risk taker because I was poor. I had nothing. Like, ooh, I might have no money. Ooh, I really don't like camping though. Just to speak. People are like, you want to go camping? No camping. No, I like electric. I like running water. I like heat and air conditioning in the summer. So I hope you enjoy it. It got People Magazine's Book of the Week on March 7th, which I almost peed my pants. I couldn't believe it. And now they're doing a feature on it. It's a secret, so you guys are the first to know. They're doing a feature. We don't know when it's coming out, but I had a little hour-and-a-half conversation. That poor girl, her ears were bleeding when she got off. She's like, okay, I learned everything I can know about you. And so they're going to do a feature on the Funny Farm and probably mention the book. So that'll be coming up in People. And then we have a couple, like CBS Sunday Morning News, we hope. So there, I've talked to those people. So it's getting a lot of publicity. And I think the reason is, you know what the world is doing today. People are grasping onto anything good, and this Funny Farm is good. If you'll see this will be scrolling the whole time. This is only some of the animals. We have over 600 rescued animals. So before I bought the farm, after going back to when I was a little girl, I always said, Mom, I'm going to buy your own farm when I get older. And in my 20s, she was diagnosed with cancer and sadly passed away right before I made settlement on my property before I closed. I cried, not only that I just lost my mom, but now here I am. I'm a graphic designer and photographer, so I have my own business, Artsy Graphics. I do government contract work. I'm like, I can't take care of these animals by myself. I have my business. I don't know what I'm going to do. And my mom haunted me like, this flaky artist is going to screw this up. She's like, you know what to do. You got this. So finally I was like, Mom, I'm good. Just go. You're driving me crazy. So I had 35 and slowly I was my mother's daughter and I could not say no. I'd be like, no, I can't take any more. Okay, we're going to euthanize them. I'm like, all right, bring them over. So again, I got to about 200. So I was not a nonprofit right away. I did it for 12 years on my own. I make a good living. I'm like, I can afford these animals. But after my bills got to be about $4,000 a month, I said, I don't know how I'm going to pay my mortgage and feed these babies. What am I going to do? And I became a nonprofit then. And then people were like, can I visit? Can I volunteer? I became a nonprofit just to get a tax break on my feed. And then I thought, this is where I live, people. Who wants to come to my house? And then slowly but surely, it just went a little bit. And then I was always doing my own social media. This is Matt Reeves. He is my social media guy. He started to help me because I was overwhelmed, and he started making the animals talk. I'm like, my animals don't talk. We're not Disneyland. And he wound up getting vet bills paid for me because there was one of Cowboy the goat. He had a busted leg, and they said he would never walk again. And we had to take him up to Pennsylvania to New Bolton Center. And it's a University of Pennsylvania hospital, teaching hospital. And Matt said, you know, I'm a cowboy and I have a really big vet bill. I mean, it wasn't quite like that, but he was scared, and he really connected with the people. And now we have over 60,000 followers. So you guys at Frenchtown, welcome. You guys, Matt will probably show you guys in a few minutes on there. Mm-hmm. And like I said, we would love to see you at the Funny Farm. All of the animals are rescued, either abandoned, abused, neglected, unwanted. And there are a lot. So we've expanded from 15 acres. I now have 25 acres. We're getting ready to build Goat Town and a lot of really fun stuff. Some of you might have heard Matt talking in the beginning that when you get there, don't wear your best shoes. The animals are loose. So it's pretty clean. We clean it every day, but you know, we don't walk behind them with like a shovel as they're going. So like I said, don't wear your best shoes, and if you're afraid of animals, you better stay home because they're going to come right up to you. All of a sudden, you'll be standing there. I was talking to somebody the other day, and this horse walked up, and the lady didn't notice it was there, and she came right, whoa! You know, it scared her. She's like, I didn't expect it to be loose. I said, did you not know about us? So the animals a lot of them are loose. The ones that we have some naughties. We have some racetrack rescues that have been abused, and their scars run deep. So those are not right there for you to get your hand bitten off, because I've been bitten. I've been put in the hospital a few times from some of them. They have gotten a lot better, but they remember, and they sometimes think that I'm their old owner. I'm like, I'm your new owner. Be nice to me. So like I said, if anybody wants to take a ride down, it's more beautiful down here than when you get down to Mays Landing, but it's a beautiful ride taking the back roads. So come visit us on Tuesdays and Sundays, 8 to 4. The only thing you have to do is sign a waiver. It is free to get in. My volunteers yell at me, Laurie, if you could just charge $1, we could have $1,000 say. We had 1,000 people today. And I said, you know what? As a tribute to my mother, I decided to leave it free because my mom couldn't afford $1 for any of us. So if there's other people in that situation, we said we're going to do that. And it happened. I had a woman, we were on a hayride, and I kind of made that mention. Somebody said, why don't you charge? And I told the story. And at the end, she started to cry. And I said, what's the matter? What happened? And she said, I have been with 3 kids, no alimony, no child support, fighting in the courts for that. She didn't have a good job, and she couldn't make ends meet. And it was the only place that she could bring her kids that liked to go they wanted to go to the funny farm for free. And then she handed me a $20 bill. And then I started crying because that was like probably a couple $100s to her, in her world, like it was when I was a kid. I could feel that. So if we help one person, then it's all worth it. So again, please, we would love to see you. I took this from Scott's, so I'm going to put this back up there. Real quick, we're going to do a demonstration for the 2 dogs, if that's okay with you, Scott. We're going to bring them in. So they're...
The sheep, the baby first.
Do you want to what?
Do you want to introduce the other 2 first, and then the dogs?
We're going to do the dogs. I don't think we're going to bring the baby sheep in here.
You want to say hi to people?
Are you going to carry them in? You can bring them in. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Look, she's like, yes, we would like to see the sheep, please. So baby Bradley, if you didn't see him, he just ate because he was like, Mom. So I fed him outside before this started. So I'm going to move this over. So these are called Bailey chairs, the 2 dogs that we're going to be bringing in. They have mega esophagus. And what that means is their esophagus is enlarged, and it's caused by a defect from usually interbreeding. So German Shepherds is probably one of the most prevalent. It also happens in bulldogs and black labs. Okay, here's baby Bradley. So this baby sheep, and we have Marina and Grayson. Is Grayson outside? So this is Marina, one of my other volunteers, and then, as I said, Matt Reeves, our social media director. This is baby Bradley. He had a mom and a brother, and when his brother and he were born, the brother basically died at birth. So the mom neglected this one. The people were like, what is going on? They tied her up trying to force feed them because they have to get colostrum in the very beginning. And she wouldn't feed them no matter what they did. So they brought the baby inside. They went out and tried to get colostrum and tried to feed him. I think he literally just ate, so I don't think he's going to do it again. But he has to have a bottle about every 1.5 hours to 2 hours. And thank you, darling. So, Matt, you're going to hold him so I can feed him?
Yeah. Ready?
He has to wear a... Well, I was going to have you pick him up.
Okay.
Let's see. I don't think he's going to want to eat. You want some? Are you going to try it? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm going to eat. I'm always hungry. So he doesn't appear to be blind, but you can see he almost looks like he has cataracts in his eyes. I don't think he's completely blind. I think he sees shadows. He does walk into things. Like one day he was running and kind of following the dogs, but I'm not sure if he was following the noise or the shadows. And all of a sudden, one of the dogs stopped and he went boom right into him. And it was like a big fluffy dog, so it was a good thing. So he is just 9 weeks old. And yeah, he's big. He's a baby lamb, but they become rams. So if I put a box in the way, I forget that he's blind, and we get a donation. Whoops, we're gonna have to clean that up.
I got paper towels.
Well, the dogs will come in and lick it up. We just spilled some milk, Scott. No worries.
Have you ever had a lamb in here before?
He is drinking. It's called kid milk, so it's specifically for baby. It's baby lamb kid milk. They have baby lamb goat milk, very similar. It's mixed up with powder and hot water. It's still hot from southern New Jersey, and he just ate a half a bottle. I can't believe he's eating again. He's like, well, somebody's holding me, and so he's like, I'm showing everybody. But it is time consuming sometimes. So he has a diaper on because that's where boys go to the potty. There is no diaper on the back, so we will take him out right away afterwards because Scott will kick me out if he does go number 2. So, all right, and so now we're going to get other 2 more critters coming in. Now we go around to schools and we teach a kindness program. We talk about anti-bullying and different things. So this one's our anti-bullying. It's about, and they're all true stories. And if you look in them, these are self-published. We're not. That's okay. Thanks, honey. They're all pictures of the animals inside, and it tells a story. So we usually bring Farley, but like I said, we just didn't want to overcrowd everybody. He is kind of the farm manager. There's nothing that happens at the farm that he doesn't know. So we teach kids about, here, you can take him right off, Matt. All right, Tucker, you're right here. Okay. That's not your chair. Your chair's over here. So that one's that one. And then this one. Tucker, let's go get in your chair. Come on. Get in. So I don't know if you guys might have to stand up to see. He's going to get in. Come on, Tuck. Get in. Go ahead, Tucker. Okay, you can let him go. Just let him loose. Wait, Jesse, you have to wait. No, that's not your chair. Come here. Come over this side. So Tucker's going to get in his first.
There you go. Good boy.
You can tell they're not used to leashes. They're like, at the farm, we're loose. What is going on? Tucker, come on. You have enough room. He's saying, that stairs is next to me.
Come over here, Tucker.
Tucker, get in.
Get in. Gotta eat.
Tucker, go. Get in. I have to give him a hand. There he goes. He's going to back in. Backs in, and he's going to sit up. Good job. There you go. Sit up. All right, now Jesse actually does it better because he's a hungry hippo, this one. He's only 1 year and 2 months. This one's 3 years. Come on, Jess. Jesse, get in. Hurry up, Jess. All right, that collar's off you, I know. So he's going to back in. Come on, get in. All right, good boy. Up. All right, excellent. Good boy. All right, so they have to drink puppy chow mixed with water. Just hold that up for a second, Matt. I always tell everybody I would like to use that for margaritas, but it's only for the dog food. It's my only blender in the house. So what happens is with these dogs, this one's a black lab and blue tick hound, and this is Jesse. He is 1 year and a month or 2. And Tucker is a German Shepherd full bred. He looks like a wolf, but he is not. And he is 3 years and 2 months. So what the megaesophagus looks like inside, I don't know if you guys can all see this. So this is like his head. This is his neck. That's the esophagus. That's the belly. So what they did at the University of Penn, they highlighted the food, and you can see it doesn't go anywhere. It just sits in his chest. So it's not, everybody thinks it's a digestion problem. It's not a digestion problem because it's not even going to his belly. It just stays, it's kind of like a water bottle hanging out in your chest.
Because of the shape?
Because of the shape, because it's so big. And it's not operable because you cannot, it's moving. So you can't operate on something that's moving. So this is supposed to be, see how thin this is? It's supposed to be that size all the way down. So when it squishes, so it moves back and forth, but it's like, it just doesn't really go anywhere. So in essence, they were starving to death. So I had a dog named Chucky, and he's in the book. My girlfriend who read the book back there, I saw her earlier. There's a chapter about Chuck. He had the worst case of megaesophagus ever. They said he would only live 6 months, so they suggested that I put him down. Of course, I rescued him from a woman from my work who bought him from a puppy mill breeder for $600. So she came to me and I said, well, you know, did you take him to the vet? She said, no, I went back to the breeder and they gave me my money back. And I said, what are you going to do now? And she found out it was megaesophagus. I didn't even know what that meant. And I said, you know, well, what's going to happen? And she said, I'm taking him to the pound. I said, they're going to kill him. She said, no, they won't. I said, yes, they will. So I said, I'm going to just take him, just bring him into work tomorrow. So in the meantime, I had a boyfriend at home who said, no puking puppies, Laurie. Do not bring that dog home. You okay? I'll do that. So he didn't talk to me for like 3 weeks. And then all he did, he was a puppy, so he was not potty trained, and then would throw up constantly. So this dog ate about 11 to 14 times a day. These two only eat every 3 hours, 7 times a day. You gonna get more? So this is their fourth or third time today. This is their fourth time. So when we go home, it'll be a later night feeding, but most likely we'll feed them. Just because normally we called him Chuck, short for up Chuck, because the food sits in here sometimes and it doesn't always go down. Jesse actually does really well. Tucker tends to throw up in the evenings. And I say throw up, regurgitate their food. So when they start out, this was Tucker when he came to me. And I'll tell you, I had just lost Chucky, and he wound up being called the miracle dog because he made it to 5 years and a month. He wound up dying of a heart attack. He had all sorts of other issues. So it wasn't just the mega esophagus, but it wasn't starvation that killed him. So I never felt so hurt to lose an animal before, except for Chuck, because these animals spend so much more time with me that the other one didn't have this little tray. So I literally sat there and held, and I would have to hold him up afterwards and he would fall asleep in my arms. So we were really, really connected. So when somebody asked me to take Tucker as a baby, I didn't know that I could do it. I would get mad at people when they would say, oh, I can't do it again. It broke my heart. And it was the first time ever that I could feel that pain that much. And I'm like, now I understand what they mean. So finally, I said, just bring him over. And of course, I fell in love with him. Look at him. I fell in love with him. And it was the best thing I ever could have done because he wound up healing my heart. It's a different love than I had for the other. No two dogs, no two animals are alike. And he's completely different, but it helped heal me. And I will always have that special place with Chuck in my heart. But Tucker will have a different spot, and same with Jesse. And now I have 12 dogs in my house, 2 with mega esophagus. Some are like biters, and some are peers, and a lot of them are. My house is fun. I have a cleaning lady that deserves a gold medal. We have the baby. I have the baby lamb living in there, the cockatoo, which is the bird you'll see. She'll have the big headdress, and it's an all-white parrot. And then Adele the diva chicken, which is. She lives in my house. We talk about her with schools because you know how kids nowadays, they don't know, am I a boy? Am I a girl? She has a tutu on. She has a tutu on. Am I a boy? Am I a girl? Am I black? Am I white? Am I brown? Am I purple? Who cares? Just be the best you that you can be. And that's Adele. True story. She came in my house after I adopted her. She jumped out of her little pen that I first got her in. Her sister stayed outside. She came in the house. I threw her back out. She came back in. She would keep knocking at the door no matter what I did. So I finally let her in. I found out they made baby diapers. Chicken diapers. So she wears a chicken diaper. And she rules the roost, no pun intended. She completely, if the dogs come over to her food, she'll like peck them in the nose. And they're big dogs. All right, not all big dogs. There's Caesar. He is missing an eye. Isn't he a cutie? I have 4 little dogs, and then the rest are very large. So he obviously has an obsession with his toys. We're trying to send him to therapy for it, but so anyhow, I don't want to hold things up here. I have no idea. How long have I been talking, Scott? Because the hardest thing I had to do was I had to make a 90-second video. I can't just talk for 90 seconds, I found out. If you give me like an hour and a half, I'm good. So I have no conception of what time I start or whatever. He's cleaning up the little milk, so we're just going to do that right.
So can they feel full if they, do they feel satiated?
Yeah, so she's asking, can they feel full? So the fact that they have to sit up for about 10 minutes after, the food will slowly go down into their stomach. So they do feel full for about 3 hours, and then we feed them more. So they eat. That's why they're in the chairs? Yes, they're in the chairs, right. So these are called Bailey chairs, named after a dog, Bailey, that they realize he'll actually fall asleep. He puts his feet up, and he'll actually, look, he looks like he's praying. Like, thank you, Lord, for this meal.
Is he taking a nap?
He's taking a nap. They're very, very happy. Yes, after we eat, don't we all want to take a nap?
Look at these two.
So this one, he might be like me, a little Polish. He turns around in his chair and I don't know why, he just likes to, they're very friendly. So Chucky, you could never approach him in his chair. But Tucker and Jesse, they're super sweet. So kids come up and we'll pet them afterwards, and some of the kids help us, if they're holding the bowl or refilling the bowl.
How did you train them to go in there the first time?
Pretty quick because they're hungry. So I started out in a car seat. I didn't think I showed you that picture.
I saw the car seat.
Yeah, there was a photo. Yeah, I think in here you will see in one of the photos you'll see Jesse. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was Jesse in his car seat. Here was Chucky in his car seat. Can you guys see? So they would jump in and turn around, and then they would drink out of a baby bottle. So that's how they start. So they kind of already get it that, all right, I need to be standing to be fed or sitting up to be fed. So it's kind of an easy transition. So I would say Tucker was very smart, this one. Little extra time, Jesse. But he's really, really cute. Really cute. It's the lab in him, yes. Blue tick hound, yeah. And yeah, so he's wonderful. So did anybody have any questions about either the book or the animals or the dogs? You can see, by the way, some of the animals that are represented. We have just about everything there. We do wildlife rescue, but we're not allowed to keep wildlife there. But you'll see, like, there's a picture of a deer that we will, hold for as long until a wildlife rescuer can take them in. So we assist with that, but there are no wild animals. We have Canadian geese. Do they count? They come in, they're loose. And we have a couple wild turkeys, but again, they can leave if they want, but they've adopted the funny farm. So, yeah, so this is just kind of this is Yogi. He was a baby in some of the pictures. His best friend is Cooper, which I thought was on here. Maybe not. He didn't make the poster. It's an all-black alpaca. Yeah, it looks kind of like him, but he's all black. They have bonded. So we have a lot of very strange animal bonds at the Funny Farm because I grew up in this little shack in the woods. I didn't have areas for animals. My mom didn't have areas. So she brought home a baby horse, a baby pig. We had a goose in the house, a duck. We had raccoons, opossums, a skunk. It was a baby skunk, so they only go poof, and it's not too smelly, just a little. So, and of course we would rehab. Back then they didn't have all the, the licensing and all the craziness now that you're not allowed to help out an animal yourself. Wildlife, you have to give it to a wildlife rehabilitator. But my mom would raise them and then let those wildlife loose, and then she didn't have a vet degree. She had Red Cross from her Girl Scout days, and maybe from before the nunnery she was going to go into. And basically we gave these animals love, which they needed the most. So little love, little attention, little time, and most of them survived. I'm not saying that every single one lived, but most of them did live. So, and the same with these. So these two dogs were both going to be euthanized. A family had this dog, and they just were beside themselves. They had taken in a dog. She wound up being pregnant, and they had 9 babies, and they were like, oh! So they got whoever adopted out that they could, but this one, as a puppy, would drink from the mom and throw up, upchuck, every time. So they took him to the vet. They said, mega esophagus, euthanize them. And the people were beside themselves. The father was spoon feeding him, but he's like, I can't keep doing this, and nobody would take him. So when they asked me, I was kind of like him and Holland, and then when he came over, these people still come to the farm and see them, like grandma and grandpa visiting. And if we try and make the dad talk to this day, he cries because he's so happy that he has such a good home. They run around loose, so there's 12 dogs. Well, there's -2 because 2 are biters, but the rest of them run around. Unless we have really bad kids, then we let them loose. No, I'm kidding. So we always tell the people, did you sign the waiver? And if not, then we're just going to feed you to the pigs if you get hurt, so don't let anything happen. Yeah, we have 25 pigs, 2 cows, which are really steers. So they're bulls. They get fixed and they become a steer. A lot of people don't know that. And again, the steer and the alpaca are best friends. And he had horns. Well, he has horns. And one day they were play fighting, and he went like this, and it gouged him in the side. Intestines started coming out. Yeah, so we have 2 EMTs that work there, and they pushed it back up. We bandaged it up, rushed him to the hospital. Actually, Matt drove. He usually drives very slow like Granny, but he that day got there, and I have lights on my truck, so he acted like the police, and he just went. Got him up there, and they saved his life, New Bolton Center again. And then Yogi cried and cried and cried. And we thought, so when we got him back, we thought, what are we going to do? So we fashioned these tennis balls on the horns. He could not keep those on very well. So they actually made these things. They're like sleeves with clear ends of balls. I said, looks like an adult toy, but just saying. I said that on NPR. Matt yelled at me. He's like, seriously, Laurie? You gave some of these old guys heart attacks just now. So now, and what happens is they get that big fiber. So when he hits them, normally it doesn't puncture. It's like hitting like bubble wrap. But we had just sheared him, so it went right in. So they're back together. They don't have anything on their ends of the horns. His fiber is big enough, so they're fine again. But it's amazing, some of the animal, yeah, that was him. That was Cooper. So he gets along a lot with everybody, but he loves, if we take the Yogi out of the pen, he's right there. And if the vet's trying to give him a shot, he's trying to like chest bump the vet. We have to like protect the vet. Like, we got this, we're okay. Like I said, 25 pigs. Most of them are miniature pigs, but some are. These are their Caesar that's here, and Puppy. He was thrown out of his house 2 times. Somebody took him in, and then they threw him back out before I got him. That's Yogi, and that's another sheep, but his name's Reggie. So, and this is one peacock that they said he would never walk again. He got hit by a car. You can't always believe everything your vet tells you. I brought him into my house. Same boyfriend's like, there is not a peacock going to be living in my house. This is before the chicken. And I said, it's temporary. It's okay. We'll be fine. And I actually didn't know what was going to actually happen because I was going to take him back to get euthanized, but I needed him to say goodbye to his wife. His name was Ricky and her name's Lucy, the Ricardos. So they were the only 2 peacocks I had. So I decided they said he's not in a lot of pain. I said, well, I'm going to take him home to say goodbye to her then. And he said, my vet said, that's fine. So I'm driving home, and I said, well, is he in a lot of pain? And the vet's like, no, not too bad. So I'm driving home going, if he's not in that much pain, I'm going to fashion like a little harness and a bungee cord, and I'll build a building, like a corn crib. And then he can bounce around, she can run around, they'll be happy, right? So what? We have disabled people. Why can't we have a disabled peacock? What's the problem? So that was my plan. And then when I was giving him a bath, yes, my peacock was getting a bath. It had a little cut where the hit happened, and I saw his leg move. His leg moved. Everybody's like, sure, Laurie. I'm like, I'm telling you, I'm not crazy. It was a miracle. It's a miracle. And sure enough, I picked him up, sat him down every day, and then he stood up on his own. And he sat down. Next day, he stood up and took 1 step and then sat down. 3 months later, he's good to go. So he has had 3, Ricky and him have had 3 sets of babies. We don't usually let procreation happen at the Funny Farm. We are a rescue. However, I felt like I owed it to him, okay? Since then, though, Lucy left Ricky for a blue guy. So sometimes happens, but he has a new girlfriend, no worries at all. So, they're switching around. That's okay. So any questions that you guys have of me or the farm? That's a skunk. So we have a skunk. He is descented. His name is Stinky, but he's descented, and you have to have a license to have a skunk. Again, a wild animal. They are high vector rabies species, so do not take one from the wild. People can buy a skunk. Lodi, New Jersey, I don't think that's too far. That's the only place in New Jersey you can buy them, and they're $950. And
they're all D's?
They're descented, they're fixed, they have their shots. One of my volunteers said, Mom, she loved the skunk. I want a skunk. And she said, if you save up your money, she saved up enough money to buy the skunk. And the mom was friendly? They're friendly. They're kind of like a cat, but they're nocturnal. Yeah. So unless you work at night and you're sleeping when he's sleeping, don't do it. It sounded like a party in my kitchen. He was in there like looking through the Tupperware, pulling everything out. I don't have human children, so I don't have those little cabinets that you can't open. He was in everything. So he eventually moved outside, and I have him in a pen, and he has like tunnels, and he's very happy in there. But this woman said, I don't know what to do. And I said, you know what, I have an idea. She can borrow my skunk, and she can keep it for 2 days. And I said to her, they're up all night. She's 12. I'm up all night, I'm like, okay, okay, go ahead. So 1 day goes by, she brings the skunk back. Oh, okay. I said, what happened? She's like, it was chewing on my pigtails, and I was so tired at school. And I said, I told you. So that solved, I don't know how often people are going to get to do that, because that's how we rescued Stinky. The wife, a husband had it, believe it or not, and the wife said, if you don't get rid of that skunk, I'm getting rid of you. So that's how Stinky came to be. So
how do you pick which animals you accept?
So that's a good question. We're full in some departments, like the pig department, we have 25. And everybody has to have a house. So I have horses, they all have to have a stall. I took in some extra horses, and I have a couple rental properties where my volunteers can rent at a discounted rate. But the one girl has a little bit extra special deal. She has to take care of 2 horses and a rooster, and her rent's really cheap. So, I had 2 more horses that were going to be euthanized. Hardly anything was wrong with these horses, and I just couldn't see it. And so I asked her, I said, can you help? If I pay for everything, will you take care of them? And so I still get the farrier and the vet over there, and they love it. She has a 15-year-old son. He jumps up on them bareback and just kind of walks around with them. And one was a retired jumper. I think both of them were retired, like show horse type. So we make accommodations if we can. If we can't, we try and refer them. But we have a lot of birds, so we very rarely ever say no to birds. However, there's a bird flu going around right now, so the state's like, you need to stand down for that, because if we get one, that's the baby deer. And then the baby deer has to get, she got her ears bit off by a dog. That's a little baby stallion horse, a miniature horse, so they're little. And that's a mini pig, that's why they're small. But then you'll see that's the farm. When you drive in, there's the barns, and then my house is the smallest building in there is the house. Everybody says, you live in there with all those animals? I do. And there's a miniature horse with the big horse. And that was their first day of meeting, love at first sight. Don't tell me that there's no love at first sight, right? So when I bought the place, I really thought that the farm would save my mom. So that was, she was supposed to live for 6 months, and she lived like 4.5 years. I'm like, you can't kill this woman. This woman is invincible. She's my superhero. She will live forever. So I really believe that even though she was kind of going downhill and they kept saying, she's going to die. They were saying that for 4 years. I really thought that she was going to move to this farm. She did get to see the funny farm where it is today. So she did. There's actually a picture of she and I. It's not in my slideshow. We're sitting in front of the barn, and all the barns were blue, and she loved it. She was buying like plates already. So she knew, and she knows. I tell everybody, don't worry. She's buried in my front yard. Her ash is not her body, because that would be illegal. Because people look, and then I know one woman was like, oh my God, you said that in front of my kid? Having the kid thing's not having a kid thing is a problem, because my mom was very honest. So when that's right. So when the turkeys are on top of each other, the chickens, they're like, what are they doing? I'm like, oh, they're mating. And the mom's like, and I'm like, oh no, they're playing leapfrog and one got stuck. I'm like, what do I say? So yeah, there's a lot of education going on. We do have schools that come. They don't like me to talk too much. That's Lucy. So the girl peacocks are not as vibrant and as beautiful. Only in humans are the girls prettier than boys. But every other species, the boys are always prettier. Some of them are a little fat for a rescue. They tend to get a lot of food. So so you're seeing a lot of the same. There's a lot more animals to be seen there. And some of these are like you'll see we'll move these eventually, and you can see some of the other animals on the banner. And we can come in. It's been about 10 minutes? Okay. All right, you want to come out? They're like, I'm sleeping, so he's being so nice, though, Matt.
Are you happy?
Okay. Are we ready to sign some books, unless anybody else has any other questions? Oh, we have a couple questions. Sorry, go ahead.
I just have a question. What's the story with the dog with the different color eyes, the white and...
That's Buddy. Matt, you want to tell him about Buddy? So Buddy has come to live at the Funny Farm. He was a rescue dog. You want to tell the story? So it's technically was Matt's dog in the beginning. He's now my dog. Matt lives up in New York, and he stays in New Jersey a lot. And the dogs, when he goes, Buddy's like, see you, Dad. And Buddy stays. Because, why wouldn't he want to stay at the Funny Farm? We had the gate open when people are visiting, and people were like, the animals are loose. Aren't they going to go out the gate? I'm like, if you're an animal, would you go out that gate? They're like, not too often. Once in a while, we have a wise guy who's like, I want to go out the gate. But overall, yeah, he is a rescue dog.
Yeah.
And so they just have different color eyes. He's part golden
Retriever
and Australian Shepherd.
Yeah.
So that's part of that Australian Shepherd.
He
Now
was a Pilots and Paws first.
Pilots and Paws, yeah. So Matt's a private pilot, as am I. And yeah, so we've done lots of rescuing animals that way by airplane. There was somebody else who had their hand up. I think it was you. Yeah. Okay, how about you first?
Yes, I was wondering, do you try to adopt out any animals?
That's a good question. People think that I just hoard them, and I really don't. So we had somebody that jumped off 21 cats. I have 250 cats. So we're not a cat rescue. But we adopt out every kitten that comes in. Those 21, I took to Facebook Live. I lost my mind. I was so mad. It was right during COVID when all the vets were kind of closed, and I couldn't. I'm like, they were just piled in. You couldn't see what cat's head was what cat's foot, butt. I mean, they were just shoved in there, no food, no water, covered in feces. I had to wash every one. 21.
Where did they come from? Like a hoarding situation?
Somebody dumped them on the side of the road. We didn't even know. Somebody
on your property?
on my property, but down a ways, because it's 15 acres, so it's big. And it's like I come out my drive, I usually make a right. I never go left. And one of my neighbors was walking her dog around the big block, because I don't really have neighbors right next door. And she called me. She said, "There's these crates outside." And I was like, "What?" So I went out there, and Matt, we found out. We called the police, and Matt said, "You want to do a Facebook Live?" And I'm like, "Yes!" Because I was so angry. And you know what happens when girls get angry? We cry. I was so mad. Just shut it off. I can't do it. I was so upset. And then the people, yeah, he does. He listens. He had his man ears on as usual. I wasn't looking at you on purpose, sir. And he kept filming, and I think it got to people. And I said, people suck. I was so mad. Yeah. Next thing you know, people started driving in within the next hour with cat food. Not to adopt yet, because donations, cat food, cat litter, money. Then I cried for a different reason. I said, people really are kind. It's just, I think the media shows us a little bit more of the negative. But when you ask, we as an organization, we very rarely go, "Please help us." We're not one of those places that are always begging for money. I know there's some places, when you see the Sarah McLachlan commercial, you're ready to shoot yourself in the head. Yeah, I just give her money and shut her off. But we're not like that. We concentrate on where the animals are going, not where they came from, because they had horrific stories. I can't even talk about some of the stories because I couldn't get through it. I just know that you're living your best life now, and that's what it's about. And
250 cats?
so we have two, yes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that are not adoptable that we've adopted in over the years. And some of them, so we have different stages. We have the penthouse suite, which is the kitty cottage. It has its own little kitty crapper. We have bathrooms attached to our house, so do they. And they have a television, only 2 hours of screen time at a time. We don't want any mushy kitty brains, So that one's heated, air conditioned, looks like a house. So when you sit in there, the cats will jump up in your lap and you'll decide who you like to take home. Then we have a little bit ones that want to go in and out. And then we have the feral cat. It's like the ghetto, but they still have a warm area. It's still nice, but it's not has more dirt floors with rugs over the dirt floors. But they're all stalls. They all have, it's just where they're happiest. They can kind of move to whatever clique they want. But usually the house cats stay with the house cats, and then the street-wise guys just kind of hang out. But we adopt out as many as we can. We've adopted out horses, donkeys, goats. We're getting ready to start Goat Town. I don't know why. Everybody got animals during COVID. Now they're going, "We're going back to work. We got to get rid of them." So everybody's full, not just me. Every place is full. So if you're... Question?
Laurie wants to know, since you're telling some stories that are not in the book, if there's going to be a second book.
Somebody said, "You going to do a second book?" I'm like, I only have one life. What are you guys thinking? So everybody's like, there's always stories. A lot of people think they're just cute animal stories. There are animal stories that you can read to your children in between, except for one. There are 2 pigs fornicating in the back of the truck. So put your kids to bed for that one, and it tells you that ad. But you can read some of the stories, and there are animals that are mostly there now. Some people are like, "I'm buying this for my 8-year-old grandchild." PG-13. There's, it's a story of my life. So, it's like if you were going to write your life, you probably wouldn't want your 13-year-old reading it. Maybe 13. Not 8. 13, I have a lot of 13-year-olds reading it. And it's not, I just want parents to know that it can be a little heavy. It's not X-rated, so you're okay. But it is life. So we don't know about a second book or not. But you can see they're very relaxed in their chairs.
So
Okay.
people are timing you, and they said that you went over.
I'm way over. Scott, you didn't do the bell. I'm done. Okay, so thank you guys so much. Wait, there was one other question.
Yeah, well, I was hoping maybe I could catch you on this side, but you'll be busy with the book signing.
You can call me. I can give you my card, and you can give me a call if you want to do that. Where did I put them?
She's going to come up.
Oh, okay. All right, sounds good. And no other questions?
I just have a statement.
Yes.
I did read the book.
You did.
And I recommend everyone to, I mean, everyone's here and they're going to read the book. It is probably one of the most enjoyable reads. And you say dark, etc. But and tears, yes. But it's one of the best books I've read in a really long time.
Oh, that makes me so happy. Thank you so much. They say it's inspirational because it's mostly about my mom. It's not like, this is my life. It's about her, and she's a superhero.
And what
So,
you've done.
thank you. Well, somebody had to take the reins and finish what she started. You know, if somebody said you were going to be doing this, I'd be like, what? You're crazy.
Yeah, I love the fact of you and your mother, the mother and daughter story.
Yes, so my mother was a wise guy. When we would cry, we moved in, and then I'm almost done, Scott. After we moved in, he's like, we want to go home. When we moved in, the kids were crying, and finally my mom had enough. And she's like, just keep crying. The more you cry, the less you pee. We're going to put that on a shirt, so, Anyway, thank you guys all for coming. Thanks so much. Thank you to Frenchtown for having me. Appreciate it.
Okay, so there's a lot of people asking where you are and where this.
Oh, Frenchtown, New Jersey. I don't know. You guys have to help me out. How far are we from New York City?
Frenchtown Bookshop, right?
Frenchtown Bookshop.
Frenchtown Bookshop, a very quaint bookshop. How long have you been here, Scott? How long has this bookshop been here?
7 months.
7 months.
You're brand new.
You're brand new. But Frenchtown has been here a long, long, long time. So awesome. That's why I haven't been in here. I said, I don't know why I never went to that bookstore when I've been here.
The Funny Farm. The best way right now to support the Funny Farm.
It's to buy the book, yes.
Copy of the book,
All right.
And Laurie will sign it.
Okay.
Any way you like.
Oh, and I have a pen here. Thank you. Thank you, sweetheart. I didn't mean to talk. I tend to talk. Let me just make sure it's working.
Some of the chairs out.
You just do your thing. I'm just going to be the...
Okay, good. Let me just move this over a little so I have some room here.
This for you also.
So we're going to do this.
Okay.
Do this.
Thank you. I just need a little sippy sip.
Going to move this here.
Thank you so much for coming out.
Oh, that's not where I go. Here.
Okay, so
Maybe we should be on the opposite side.
here, Miss Helen. This woman, I guess, just
Should
for
I?
sales should go on that.
Do you want me to? You want me to move somewhere?
Let's switch
You want me to go somewhere?
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to switch sides.
Okay.
I've been to the Funny Farm.
Oh, you have? Awesome.
My sister lives in Upseeking.
Oh my gosh.
Visits frequently.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
This lady is purchasing two, so let's do a switch. Then I got to take pictures.
Okay, so you're gonna go on that side. You're gonna come on this side, right? This is for you. This is for Denise, right? Who's Denise? Is that you?
Yeah, I met you on Tuesday from Yardley.
Oh my gosh!
And I wanted to tell you, I took a ton of pictures. They were so beautiful. I showed them to my art teacher. She's so excited. We might use it for a group project.
Sure,
So if we do, I'll
absolutely.
give you the painting.
That would be awesome.
The colors are just amazing in the pictures. Can I ask you to take a picture?
Absolutely. I'm going to take pictures with my phone and your phone. Okay? Because all I ask is you have to set up. When it's ready. So I'm going to go here. We're going to put these here.
And then there's this one as well. I don't know if that's being...
It's okay, honey. I wrote a little bit of my own thing. I just said so great to see you again. And then I'll put one of these in, Vaughn.
Yep.
This is like a little.
I'll let you know when the painting's done.
Okay. So,
Here we go. Let's start the book. Here we go.
all right, there's one. Okay. Okay, so I'm not quite sure how many pictures you got. I don't know, it's saying swipe something. Check and see if, make sure there's a picture there first.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank
honey.
you.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you, sweetheart. You look so pretty with your little sparkles in your hair. You didn't have them the other day.
Okay, I've got 2 books. One
Okay.
is to Sari Carroll, your biggest fan.
Aww.
That's my sister.
Hey, Laurie, say goodbye to the Facebook Live people.
Bye, Facebook Live. Thanks for watching.